Have you ever had that feeling like you're just counting down the years, saving up your real life for a retirement that feels like it's ages away? Well, you're not alone. There's a growing movement that's basically throwing that whole idea out the window. Today, we're going to dive deep into the world of micro-retirements, a trend that could totally change how we think about work, life, and, well, everything.
And this, right here, is where our story really begins. A staggering 44% of workers say they feel burned out. Let that sink in. This isn't just a few people having a bad week. It's almost half the entire workforce just running on fumes. It's a full-blown cultural epidemic, and it's the rocket fuel for the trend we're exploring today.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the generation that's really leading this charge against burnout. Then we'll pin down exactly what a micro-retirement is. After that, we'll get into the personal stories behind the trend, then shift gears into a practical step-by-step playbook. And finally, we'll tackle that all-important question. How do you plan your return?
All right, let's start with the big picture. None of this is happening in a vacuum. It's really being driven by younger generations who are looking at the traditional career ladder and asking a pretty simple question. Seriously, is there a better way to do all this?
You've probably heard these buzzwords floating around, right? Quiet quitting, where you just do the bare minimum, lazy girl jobs, which are all about flexibility over ambition. But these aren't just trendy internet phrases. They're symptoms of a much deeper unhappiness with the old way of working. And the micro-retirement, that's the next logical step. It's moving from just quietly checking out to actively redesigning your life.
And this chart just spells it all out, doesn't it? Pew Research found this massive gap in how different ages feel about their jobs. A solid 67% of workers over 65 say they're very satisfied. But for those under 30, that number plummets to just 44%. That's not a small dip, it's a huge chasm, and it explains so much about why younger workers are the ones looking for an escape hatch.
So, what's causing all this dissatisfaction? Well, a huge part of the problem is our always-on culture. The same tech that lets us work from a beach in Bali also means work can follow us everywhere, into our dinners, our weekends, our vacations. It completely blurs the lines and creates this relentless, unsustainable pressure that leads right back to that burnout we saw earlier.
So now that we kind of get the why, let's get super clear on the what. What exactly is a micro-retirement? Let's break it down. Here's the core idea. This isn't a last-minute, 2-week trip to Mexico. A micro-retirement is a planned, deliberate break from your career. We're talking a few months, maybe even a year or more. And the goal is super intentional, to really, truly recharge, maybe travel without a set return date, or finally work on that passion project you've been dreaming about forever.
Now, you might be thinking, hang on, isn't this just a sabbatical? And that's a fair question, but there's a really key difference in the philosophy. A sabbatical is usually company approved, right? It's a rest period designed to make you a better employee when you come back. A micro-retirement, on the other hand, is completely self-directed. It's not about being a better worker, it's about building a better life. It's based on this radical idea. Why wait? Why not take those 20 or 30 years of retirement you hope to get and just sprinkle them throughout your life?
And this quote from Dr. Chris G. Man, it just hits the nail on the head. He's a medical doctor who's taken 2 of these breaks. And his question is so simple but so profound. It makes you question the entire structure we've been taught to follow. Why on earth should we wait until we're 65 to start really living?
So behind all the data and the buzzwords, there are real people making some pretty bold choices. Let's get into the personal stories and find out what's driving them to step off that career treadmill, even if it's just for a little while.
Dr. Chris G really doesn't mince words. For him, it just comes down to logic. The old way tells us to grind through our best years, save up, and then, only at the very end, we're finally allowed to have fun. He just thinks that's a joke. His whole thing is about reordering life's big events to prioritize living now, not some far-off day in the future.
Now, this is a really interesting perspective from Anais Felt, who took a break from her high-pressure job in Silicon Valley. She framed her break not just as an escape, but as a strategic investment in herself. The idea was that by recharging, she'd actually be a better, more creative, more focused employee for her next company. So it's a win-win.
And here, 26-year-old Brittany Foley just brings it right back down to earth, to the pressure cooker her generation is living in. She talks about this endless cycle of chasing the next promotion, the next raise, and how it leaves everyone completely exhausted. For her, taking a break wasn't about failing, it was a way to protect her own sanity and find a path that was actually hers.
So, maybe at this point you're thinking, okay, I'm intrigued, this sounds amazing,
But the big question is, how do you actually pull it off? Let's shift from the why to the how with a practical playbook to help turn this idea into a reality.
It all starts with money, but probably not in the way you're thinking. The very first move is a mindset shift. Dr. Chris G swears by the book Your Money or Your Life to totally reframe how you think about earning and spending. Then you get practical. You have to track every single penny to see where it's all going. From there, you can start making choices, cutting out the stuff that doesn't really make you happy and funneling that cash into your freedom fund. The goal? Save like you mean it. 1/3 of your income is a fantastic target.
And before you think this is only for people making 6 figures, check out this number. On his very first salary as a junior doctor, Dr. Chris G paid for a 6-month solo trip across Southeast Asia for just £6,000. This is so key because it proves that a micro-retirement is about smart planning, not necessarily about being rich. It's all about what you do with the money you have.
Okay, next up is logistics, the art of untangling yourself from your everyday life. You got to figure out your living situation, whether that means ending a lease or moving back home for a bit. This nearly always means seriously downsizing your stuff, which is tough but also incredibly freeing. Then you do a full subscription audit, cancel everything you won't need, car insurance, the gym, Netflix, all of it. And finally, the boring but essential stuff, travel insurance and visas. Don't skip those.
And seriously, do not underestimate the power of that downsizing step. Henry David Thoreau was writing about this more than 100 years ago, and it's never been more true. Getting rid of your stuff isn't just about saving money on a storage locker, it's about mentally cutting the cords that tie you down. The less you own, the more free and flexible you become. It's a mental game changer.
A lot of people choose to travel during their micro-retirement for a few big reasons. 1, it forces you to be a minimalist. You can only take what you can carry. 2, it's an incredible way to get a new perspective on things. And 3, and this is the kicker, it can actually be cheaper than staying home. Dr. Chris G found that his monthly travel costs were 25% less than what it cost him just to live in Australia.
Okay, so taking the break is one thing, but coming back is the other half of the journey. A micro-retirement isn't about running away forever, so we have to talk about the risks and how you plan a successful re-entry into the working world. Look, we've got to be realistic here. It's not without its challenges. There are some real risks to think about. Financial stress is a big one. What happens if your savings run out faster than you thought? There's also some research on what's called scarring effects, which basically suggests that a gap on your resume can make it harder to get a job. And then there's the social pressure from people who just don't get it. And this quote from Brittany Foley, wow, it is such a raw and honest look at that social judgment. While she was working as a server to support her writing, she could feel the silent criticism from her old college friends. It just highlights a very real pressure you have to be ready for, the feeling that you constantly have to explain yourself to people who are still on that traditional path. When it comes to planning your comeback, there are basically 2 schools of thought. On one side, you have the structured return. These are the planners. They set clear goals before they even leave, like learning a new skill or mapping out a completely new career. On the other side is the flexible return. This approach says, yeah, have a general plan, but leave plenty of room for discovery. Trust the process and let your experiences guide you to what's next. There's no right answer here, it's just about what fits you best.
At the end of the day, this whole micro-retirement idea isn't really about not working. It's about asking much bigger questions. It's a tool for designing a life that feels so authentic to you that you don't feel that constant need to escape from it. It shifts the focus from what do I want to retire from to what kind of life do I want to live right now? Which really leaves us with just one final question to think about. What does a life well lived actually look like for you?